This is Dave Pomeroy with NBM National Business Media.
Greg Brown with All We Do.
This is Isabella Penterick with Solid Stitch Embroidery.
Mark Vasilantone with Vastix International. And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs
And Aaron Montgomery.
Love it.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday, February 15th, 2019. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at Equipment Zone, and you can also find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, we are going to be talking leadership and culture in the workshop with Nathan Leber. So excited to get to know Nathan a little bit. This all originated from me being the ostrich with my head stuck in the sand, saying that I didn't know who Nathan was. So I get a chance to meet him today and then get to meet him face-to-face at ThreadX coming up. So this is going to be awesome. I'm excited. As you guys can probably see, I am not in my usual spot here today, so technical difficulties might be on the horizon. We'll see how that goes. But I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, actually, not with Terry, but not too far from Terry here at a hotel lobby, and it's actually colder and rainier here than it is back in St. Louis right now. So I'll just get my whining out of the way early, and
Aaron, you're here, and I'm as soon as I'm done with the show, going to shoot down to Tempe to the Equipment Zone office here to do a demo, and I'm heading to the airport and heading to Chicago for a couple of days. So I've got my leather coat and my sweatshirt and my scarf and my kids or the KU Jayhawks hat, and ready to spend a couple of days in Chicago before I myself head out and meet you at ThreadX as well on Sunday night.
Very good, very good. Yeah, enjoy the polar vortex. I think we got through it, but there's still some cold weather to come. So good that you're bringing your leather jacket and whatnot. You're probably going to need it there in Chicago. But so reminder, we're not going to have 5 things today. We're still waiting for some input from you guys. So calling out as we speak here, and just get over to tworegularguys.com/5things. The number 5, that's our favorite thing to do. The number 5, number 2, those kinds of things. So it's tworegularguys/5things, and fill out the form, and you'll be part of the show. So can get your talking points out there to the world, and it could be anything. It could be 5 tools that are invaluable to your business, or 5 policies that you need to change, or I'm just spitballing some ideas here for you guys, but you'll then get your information read, and you also have links on our show, which helps your SEO, because you'll have links to your website and stuff like that over there. So there's an opportunity for everybody to be part of the Two Regular Guys.
Hey, it's pretty easy to do. Also, just make a list 1 through 5, and just start jotting things down, and you'll be surprised how quickly you'll get those done and be be a part of the show. Hey, we want to thank all of our regular listeners and any new listeners tuning in today. If you have an idea for a future show, go to our Contact Us page at 2 Regular Guys, or reach out to us on social media. We are everywhere as 2 Regular Guys. And if you're catching this live video via Facebook Live, please jump in and participate. And with that, let's hear a word from our gold sponsor. All right, this episode of the Two Regular Guys is brought to you by Brighton Leap, makers of the Reggie Award-winning Embrilliance embroidery software. Embroiderers, you should know Embrilliance is different. You don't need dongles, licenses, or to trade activations for every user. With Embrilliance, one license runs every computer in your shop. Embrilliance runs natively on both Mac and Windows computers, and a single license lets you install for both Mac and Windows users. The modular system lets you buy only what you need. If you need lettering, sizing, and coloring, you get just that. If you want full-blown top-shelf digitizing, you can get that too. And every tool runs standalone or as a part of their unified platform. Embrilliance is flexible. You can even improve the ways existing designs run while reducing the stitch count, all from expanded stitch files. Check out their software by yourself at embrilliance.com. And just for our Two Regular Guys listeners, you can enter code 2RG at embrilliance.com/store and we'll have this listed on our website for 10% off your entire purchase. And we also would like to say that, Embrilliance is our gold sponsor. We have other sponsorship opportunities available, and you can check out details at tworegularguys.com.
Absolutely. And got some folks checking in here this morning. Todd says that it's 23 in St. Louis right now, so it's chilly, and so I guess I
so
feel
you
better.
Lied to us, Aaron. It isn't colder, and
maybe it was just yesterday that it got there. So good stuff. And yeah, so I've got as you guys can all tell, I'm the official lobby greeter as well, and trying to get to the comments and everything else. So thanks for patience with me today, everybody, and we're gonna still have a blast here. So, all right, Terry. Well, what's next on the agenda there?
Well, let's. I think it's time to jump into our interview portion. For our purposes, we cannot run over today, Aaron.
Oh, that's right.
I'm on a really tight schedule.
All right, outstanding. Well, let me welcome in Nathan Leber, who owns Leber Designs and Print, that specializes in high-end print-ready artwork, small print runs for local fashion lines, and helping out other shops with growing their leadership and helping solve workflow and technical issues. So welcome to the show, Nathan.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Great to have you here. Thanks so much for spending a little time with us here today. Like I mentioned already, this all started because you heard that I didn't know who you were. So are we good? We've shaken hands.
Yeah, no, we're good. I'm not overly well known, and people encourage me to start getting out there and letting people know who I am. So I figured, what a good way to do that.
Awesome.
So getting nominated. Yeah, so getting nominated for Reggie was your motivation to get out there and get a little better known in the industry.
Yeah, I got a nomination, so now, gosh, I got to push it further now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Starts with the nomination, and we'll end up with the Reggie. I see it on the horizon here.
Predictions.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, so hey, we talk a lot here on the show about people entering this industry and never leaving, because once you're in, you're hooked. Tell us a little bit about your personal journey into garment decorating.
I still don't know exactly how I got here, but I guess as I get older, I start seeing a little bit more of how things lined up to get me here. So I grew up in northern Ohio, out in the middle of nowhere, and just grew up on a farm. And at the time, I would have said, I'm not used to being around creative people or anything at all, But the more time goes on, I realized, hey, my dad and my grandpa that were farmers, they're pretty creative. They found ways to do just about anything. They taught me how to work with my hands and come up with ideas and things that, just you got to figure out a way to get it done with what we have here. And so I guess I picked up those traits, but I didn't realize, I'm probably realizing it more now than ever. But so I started with that. And then I went to college at Indiana Wesleyan and got 2 art degrees there. I graduated college in spring of 2009. And all we saw on the news during that time was the market's crashing, there's no jobs. And so I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, great time to be entering the job market. So I graduated, and kind of the first year after that bounced around, didn't really know what the heck to do, wasn't getting paid any money anywhere. And I saw an ad on Craigslist, and I have a printmaking degree, so it was at a screen printing shop. I really never worked too much in textiles or anything industrial. In printing, I thought, whatever, I need a job, and it was for the lowest level pay, and it was just to come in and reclaim screens. So I went in and I interviewed, and they offered me the job, and this job was with a company that's one of the largest sportswear companies in the U.S. They do thousands and thousands and thousands of just sportswear orders. That's their whole niche. It's a massive company. And I got the job and literally started as a screen reclaim guy. And I was I'm not saying I was angry, but I just kind of felt like I can do more than this. And so I took this attitude of just well, screw it. I'm going to be the best reclaim guy they've ever seen. I'm just going to knock their socks off of this. I can do more than this. Sure enough, the owner there kind of took me under his wing, and boy, he moved me around a lot and would put me in different leadership roles. And he was the first person that ever said, I kind of always thought I was going to be a production artist. And he's like, no, you got leadership skills. I got to put you in front of teams and stuff like that. And at the time, I was like, man, I don't want to do this. But longer time's gone on, he was right. And sure enough, put me in leadership positions. And so I got my start kind of learning the technical stuff there, but also having small teams there and just being like in charge of little groups. And then I've been there for quite a while, and a recruiter calls me out of the blue one day. I'm like, this is bizarre. I'd never been through that or anything at that age of, still in my early 20s, and thought, wow, that's crazy. And said, would you be interested in this opportunity to work at the shop? I thought, once again, this is weird. I kind of knew the shop, but didn't really know that much about them. Knew they were kind of known as being this big contract shop that runs for these high-end lines. I thought, okay. So I went in and interviewed. Sure enough, they offered me the job. This company didn't have a lot of processes in place at the time. So I'm going in, I got hired to be the production manager of what I thought that role was, and sort of what they had told me without any kind of written anything, which in retrospect, I would do that totally different now, but, but whatever, I was young and just dove in, and I didn't want to fail so bad. I got in, and sure enough, we're with this production facility that ran pretty large numbers already for some of just the largest fashion retail brands you can think of. So that was the first time I was really at the helm and had to lead teams and had to figure that out. And yet we still had to maintain speed and quality and pricing and all the other stuff that comes with a contract shop. And somewhere in the middle there, I sort of learned how to do it as good as I could, and messed up a whole lot. And I got a couple things right. And so it just was a constant improvement. And in my time there, we ended up running we averaged a little over 1 million impressions a year. I was just running one shift and 3 presses. It's not, one of those massive, massive shops. It's what I would consider a mid-sized shop, but we kicked out some numbers and pulled off some of the best techniques around, man, some award-winning prints, and had killer teams of just great people I got to work with. Couldn't have done it without every single one of them. And then somewhere in the middle of that too, I saw this other market and thought, boy, there's smaller runs, there's more high-end stuff, there's more technical stuff. It'd be really fun to do. And I remember the owner of that shop saying, nah, that business model won't work. That's not how you do it. Man, we're turning down some of these orders here because they're too small for our overhead. I think there's some money in this. So I started just kind of, just to prove a point almost. I thought, yeah, I'll start doing some of these after work. So I started doing some of these jobs after work. Turned into 2 days a week, turned into 5 days a week after work, turned into 5 days after work, and weekends turned into all that. And then the next thing you know, you're begging your friends and your wife and everybody else, come in and please just help me. I'm drowned in here. And so finally, I just had to make the leap to doing that full time. And so here I am. I got a small shop now, but I also have a lot more time freed up and can work on other projects and things too. So that's how I got, I guess, where I'm at.
Nice.
It sounds a little bit like my start. I often say, armed with my degree in journalism from Ohio University, I accidentally became a screen printer. So,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
it never left.
I don't know how you got here. It just happens. And next thing you know, you're like, man, I love this, and it's awesome, and it's fun. And
exactly.
Nice.
you never leave.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this this new on your own gig?
I have been, let's see, I've had my company now for, it'll be 3 years here in a couple months. And then I went out full time on it just last year. So being completely on my own is a more recent thing. So yeah, before I would have never had time to even do this. So
really good.
Things like this.
Yeah, we'd be interviewing you, and you'd be there at the press, right? Loading shirts.
Absolutely. I mean, people used to ask me all the time, "Hey, can you do this or that?" And I just be like, "No." There's just wasn't enough time in the day.
Yeah, totally. So Nathan, we've been discussing. You mentioned short run and stuff like that, but we've been discussing on this show for several years here, kind of the decorating environment changing a bit over the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. So what industry changes are you seeing from your vantage points? What are customers asking for now that are different than maybe when you started?
Well, certainly, smaller runs have become a thing. Like that everybody's seeing that. Smaller runs, you don't have those massive contract runs as much as we used to see. Not that they're not out there at all, but definitely overall people want smaller runs. They want quicker turn times. And then really especially with me, what I've noticed is there seems to be this artisan revival where people love things that are hand-drawn, actually made by an artist, really cool, completely unique. Nobody wants to see a shirt anymore that 50,000 have been printed and everyone's wearing it like in the 80s and 90s. They're like, I want my own shirt. whether it has
Yeah.
my state on it or it has whatever. They want unique now. So that's really cool. And, the fun part with that is generally they're willing to pay more too. They're like, I don't mind paying more to have an artist draw this or whatever. So definitely a push towards more artistic and more creative things. Certainly keeping it artist quality in that level. It's changed a lot. So it's really fun for me.
That's awesome. And we certainly are seeing this change all over the industry, and it's been a big part of our show of late. But, Nathan, I had a conversation that I'm sure you've heard and had with screen printing folks. There were 3 longtime screen printers having a conversation, and that typical comment came up, or a question came up: how do you find good employees? And I know you have some pretty strong opinions on this, so let's talk about that.
Well, I'll try not to go too crazy here, but one of the biggest things is creating a culture and environment that people want to work in and come to. So you're not constantly on the search for people. So like if you just need people just in general, just to start out, just from the base, a great place to look is just art schools and stuff like that. Like I always had great success pulling people with art degrees. Like they're generally fantastic people, good workers, know how to work with their hands, strong attention to detail. But really, you should be looking at the long-term play. And this is the stuff that kind of blows my mind a little bit sometimes with shops that have been around for a while, is they've never built up any culture or anything. And the fun part is, if you look at, let's look at Pixar, because that's an easy one and everybody knows that company. They have such a culture built up, and it's such a cool place to work, and those employees know the value they're going to attain for themselves by having that place on their resume. Is Pixar ever putting out job postings on Indeed? No, they have people lining up at their door because they've created internally such an awesome thing that you don't have to go out and necessarily search for those people like that, constantly be on the hunt. I don't know Pixar, but I'm guessing they probably don't fire very much. They probably have really high retention. And so there were times with my teams that were like that we created such a good place to work. They wanted to work with people there. The people were good. The culture was good. The benefits were good. The pay was good. All those things along with it. They were working literally in a team environment, not for this guy's the boss, this guy's the owner, he's taking home all the money. That literally when I would be like, I need to add 3 more people, within a day, I would have 3 references. No problem. Because all my employees would be like, oh yeah, I have this friend who's been asking about when you guys were going to hire again for months now. And so a lot of times I would even almost turn people away because, you get people come ask, hey, are we hiring? Actually right now we're not hiring, but hey, let's keep send a resume over. Let's keep their name in the hopper. And all of a sudden you had those people because the environment was so good. The team was so good. You had a line of people wanting to come in. And so that's when you get to this really awesome sweet spot of people wanting to work for you and not the other way around. And it actually isn't that hard in the sense of finding people. It's a matter of creating a place that people want to come to, and they're loved by the company and they're respected, and it's a mutual partnership, and it's just a team, and no one really has to be the boss per se, even though they're leaders. And just building that's how you get employees for the long run.
One of the people in that conversation also made another typical statement that I've heard a lot of times where he said, well, I get people trained up and then they just go out and buy equipment and compete with me. And I don't remember that ever happening. And I, you've been a long time listener to the show. We talk a lot about training and the proper environment. And I think that pessimistic attitude of, hey, I'm just going to train you and you're going to go out and compete with me is it's obviously something else. It's not that you're giving them this knowledge and they're going to go out and use it against you. There's something else wrong with your environment if that's happening to you.
My philosophy on that has always been, I'm going to train you to be awesome anywhere. I want to train you to be world class. That way you're so valuable, you can go out and get jobs elsewhere. And I've had a lot of employees in the past go out. I just had a former employee win a really nice award that you're like, man, great for you. I love it. I love that. That's awesome. But creating them so that they are so valuable, they can go out and be world class anywhere. But what I'm going to do internally is make this job so good that this is your best opportunity right now. That way you don't want to leave. You want to stay here because this is the best situation for you.
Yeah, and in today's environment, you have to do that. It's a different world where I'm the boss and you're the employee. If that's a thing of the past.
And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not old enough to tell you, but was that ever? I mean, I agree. There are things different now. Like you have social media and things like that certainly create different plays. But man, leadership's been leadership forever. This good leadership 50 years ago is the same as good leadership now. And I think that may be something that we're just lacking a little bit in the industry. I don't know if, you just don't hear a lot of screen printers going, oh yeah, I went to a leadership conference. They go to screen print events and things like that. But what are we doing internally to help create better leaders within ourselves? Because if we have good leadership and good culture, pretty much all those other things will follow along with it. All of a sudden, your quality goes up, your sales goes up, everything else starts following because you have this awesome environment.
Yeah. And I think the big change really is not necessarily, like you said, I think good leader has always been a good leader throughout history, but, it just stands out a lot more nowadays because, like you said, there's social media, you go to Glassdoor and you can, all those kinds of things. But I agree. I think our industry's probably been a little slow to that boat. Like Terry said, that's a conversation that I've heard hundreds of times. I've not been a actual screen printer myself, but I've been in this world and I hear this all the time where it's like, I'm training my employees to go get another job. Well, the introspective look there doesn't ever happen.
Right.
It's you got to understand what your place in all of that is. So
my number one question, if an employee fails or disappoints me in some way, is what did I do wrong? And to go to them and ask them that, hey, did I not train you well enough? Did I not explain what the outcome of this was going to be if we did this way? It's got to be an internal thing of how did I fail you, not you fail me. And so, but too often, and you'll see this on the Facebook groups a lot, and I don't know if that's a real representation of it, but you see somebody come in and go, oh, the employee did this or this wrong. And the first 6 comments are fire him, fire him, fire him. And I'm just like, man, you've invested so much money and time into that person. Why
Exactly.
fire them? Like, you need to nurture them. You need to love that employee and grow them, not fire them. Like, come on, you're killing yourself and what you could build for the future by having that mentality.
Yeah, totally. Here's a comment from the chat here that says, conversation had with Zig Ziglar. What if I train them and they leave? But then what if you don't and they stay?
Very good.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
Not everyone has that entrepreneurial spirit. Most don't. They want a good environment to be in and will stay there. So if you can create that, most of the time, will stay.
And in my experience, also 99.9% of people who come to work in your business want to do a good job. So if they're not doing a good job, it's probably something that you've done to not give them that opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, most people want to succeed. They don't want to fail. So
right.
You can create that environment for them.
All right. Well, lots of action here in the lobby right now. So appreciate you guys. Everybody's getting to the pool. It looks like the sun is starting to come out. So, so anyhow, I want to shift gears a little bit from employees, but management kind of fits right in there with this too. Talk to us about leadership on your own production floor. What does that look like? Like you said, it seemed more like a team than it was a boss-employee relationship. So maybe explain that more for us.
It took me a long time to figure this out. In fact, I recently apologized to one of the first employees I ever had because he was with me the first couple years I was in a leadership position. I said, I'm sorry you had to be there those years. You got the worst of me. I could have done a lot better, and I didn't know I was even doing a bad job at the time. But it came from changing myself is when I saw the teams really starting to work for me. And it came from creating not only an environment that we trained them in, so a lot more training, that way they became more valuable, but more importantly, up front when we hired them and continually as we went along, we explained to them what we want to achieve as a team, how we want to achieve it, and how that's going to get more for them. Like, if the company can make more, we can pay you more. And then doing that when that time does come, following through that, not just dangling a carrot and then they get to it and pulling it away. So, creating those things, that's what helped, me build up culture and a leadership position was by turning the introspect from me as a boss and turning it to we as a team. And here's how we can grow and get things better. And it was honestly a change in me that really turned the tide for me. It was a change in my attitude. Even if I had a bad night, going in the next day and turning on positive Nate every day, like constant positive, and going up to that person instead of going, hey, why aren't you going fast enough? Hey, why aren't we achieving this? But going, what can I do to help you? What tools can I buy you that will make this go better? Do we need to put another person over here to help roll the lint off this so you don't have to do it on press and it moves faster, and changing it around from a I need you to what can we do together to create more for all of us. And in turn, it just helped drive everything. All of a sudden, production wanted to make sure things were going out quick and well because they didn't want to fall through on the sales team. The sales team would do the same thing for production and art. And so all of a sudden it became this collaboration in this awesome environment instead of what you hear constantly of it's sales versus production, or it's art room versus production, or art room versus the screen room and all those things. It went from a you, me, I environment to a we in a big picture. And so once we got to that point, man, it's fun. It's not hard to go to work. It's not hard to manage people. It's just a completely team environment. We're all working together to achieve the same goal, and no one's above or below anyone because you need every single part of it. It's your team is the same as your body. It's like, we often put these managers or owners on this pedestal of like, okay, this is the brain of the company. Cool. You need your brain. Yes. But you also need your hands, and it doesn't matter. You can't just say, well, the brain's the most important thing on my body. I can just cut off my hands. No, I need every single person, from the most entry-level person to the highest level person, and we need all of them to achieve our goals as a team. That's what we need. You can't just, I mentioned how we would run 1 million prints a year. Cool. Great. That's a nice accolade, I guess, that I can say, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Without every single team member to do every single part, from cleaning the bathrooms to taping up a box to pulling out shirts, I could not have done it. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the we.
Yeah. There's some great comments here that I wanted to share that people are on board with what you're saying here, Nate. So yes, the worker bees are the best at spotting snags in productivity. Don't be a control freak. Grow a team and seek their counsel. James Ortolani. James Ortolani says, empower your employees to work as a team and you'll be amazed at what they can do. They actually start helping each other. Fun stuff. So you're onto something here.
Yeah, when I was running a pretty big production shop in the Midwest, I remember being gone for a week, and one of the owners saying, man, when you were gone, everything just ran smooth without you. It's like you didn't even need to be here. And I said, well, thank you for that. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, because we built that environment that people take responsibility and people know what their jobs are, and everybody knows that you've got to help each other. And I run into so many businesses where everything's a secret, and you just do your part of the job. It's on a need to know basis, and that's a struggle for people. Those are the folks who hate their jobs and hate their lives because they come into work and do their one little part, but nobody ever talks about the interaction and here's what we all need to achieve, and here's how here's your part in that, and it's just if you are open with your employees, and somebody else commented about the worker bees. I often tell people, if you're having an issue on your production floor, ask the people who do the job every day what their solution would be, because they're the ones who see all, they see where the roadblocks are. Absolutely. and let them participate in solving that issue.
I mean, they should be better at whatever their task is every day than you. As a manager, you should know how every part of your company works.
Sure.
Like, you should have a working knowledge of it, but you're probably not the best at it, and you shouldn't be. Now, and that was something I struggled with initially because I'm a competitive individual. I like to be the best. I remember for a long time I had the shop record of here's how many shirts were printed in a day, and I'm cool, I got this. And then I had somebody beat it, and then I had another person beat it initially. I was like, I'm not the best. Oh no. And it didn't matter. All of a sudden, I had people in every department that whatever they did, they were better than that at me. Screen room guy was better at his job than me. Production artist was a better production artist than I was. Printers were faster, and all these things. And that's when it becomes awesome. You don't have to keep that all in and be the best. Allow your team to be the best together.
Yeah. That's huge. I got a couple more comments I wanted to share here because there's some good stuff, and again, just kind of going on what we're talking about here. So Carolyn says, watch for the narcissists and focus on the group emphasis. I had that happen. Yikes. Make sure everyone knows that they are wearing pants. So Terry, you wearing pants today?
I am, because I have to go out into the world when we're done here. Long pants.
Nice. One more here. I had a manager once upon a time that hated that I managed exactly like Nate. I brought home all the awards and got all of the bonuses, and he still complained because I was successful. What the what? So some good feedback there, and yeah. So. Terry, where are we at here? I lost my place on the outline. I think we've got a couple more questions for Nate, though.
Yeah. You've talked a lot about culture. How do you build a culture in your shop, and how can our listeners duplicate that in their own shops?
Little things and big things. Little things like just whatever you want your shop to be known as. Make sure do that. So I know like a shop that like their whole focus is music and rock band kind of orders and that kind of stuff. So they hire people like that, but they have rock music playing all day and it's like really cool and they have that feel to it. Whatever feel you want, which you can determine that as the owner of a company, hire people that are like-minded for that. Start reinforcing it with like little things, but overall the culture has to be big things where you're explaining to them, what we're trying to achieve as a team and hiring people with like-minded ideas. So I'm at that point now with setting that in my shop, and because it is newer and I'm just now bringing on people, I have the opportunity to relook at that again and decide what culture do I want for my shop. And so, I'm setting up those things now. There's books and audio books and stuff that I'm setting aside already that I want every employee that before we hire them, I want them to review these materials and look at that and make sure they're aligned with those things in that team environment. So, it's not easy. It's hard, in fact. It's really hard. But the number one thing is whatever you want to set in that environment you want to make, you're the leader of it. And you have to follow your own rules all the time. And so many owners and plant managers and whatever, they don't do that. They go, this is what I want you to do, and this is how I want you to act. But don't worry about what I'm doing or how I act, even though it's totally wrong with that. If you want your employees to show up on time every day, you better be there half an hour early. If you want them to dress a certain way or act a certain way or use certain words and certain verbiage, then you use that. Don't go telling them, hey, you should treat someone this way, and then you go, curse them out back around the corner somewhere. It's like it starts with you, and that is hard because you're constantly under the microscope, and your employees are always watching you. And it's not that you're ever going to slip up, but when you do slip up and mess up, hey, get right out there in the open. Go, I messed up. I'm going to apologize for this. I shouldn't have reacted and done this way. And I assure you, I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm going to fix this problem. So it comes down to you and taking ownership, like true ownership of your company, not just the on paper ownership, following that culture you want to set to a T. You have to be the greatest champion for your company. Don't expect your employees to be if you're not going to be. So it's just kind of kicking up whatever culture you want, taking it to the next level with yourself.
Yeah. There was a situation I had once where we really worked on being, really producing a really great product, and the team was motivated. We had 75 production floor employees, and everybody was loving their jobs. And we're actually printing for the Final Four. And we were there, over the weekends at night, just running shirts. and the inspection person at the end of the belt stopped the presses because there was something going wrong. And the owner of the company was there to help. And he said, "Oh, let it go. It's only going to a grocery store." And that was like putting a pin in a balloon.
Yeah.
It deflated that production floor morale so much. And for weeks after that, I would hear people out there on the floor going, "Hey, let it go. It's only going to a grocery store." And it was so devastating. It took me a couple of months to get everybody back in line, about hey, we're the best printers in Kansas City, that sort of thing. And so that perfect example of that. You're saying that. It all comes from the top, and the environment is a total reflection of the owners and managers of your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you made some really good points. One of the things I was thinking about as you were explaining that, Nate, was when you have to set your culture intentionally and live it and own it and breathe it every day. And I think that's really important because your shop is going to have a culture one way or another. And if you don't set it, somebody else is going to, and that's, you have to take control over that. So I thought that was really good. And then the other thing you said is you mentioned some books and stuff that you were setting aside. Would you care to share that with the listeners? Which of those books stand out to you?
Oh, you guys are going to know my book now that I absolutely love.
Perfect.
And it comes in book form and audio form, so no one else cannot get it. But I love the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, which most everybody has known or heard of that book. But gosh, if you can read that and live it, it can change some things. It's a very impactful book. It's very simple. Yeah, and if I get somebody who comes in and they're like, I'll be like, hey, do you read? They're like, no, not really. I'm like, okay, then I'm going to send you an audiobook. So it's really easy for me to get it to them one way or another.
Yep, I'm going to Audibles right now. So
yeah,
very good, very good. So we talked early. I don't know if we actually got on the show or if this was before the show or not. Like I said, lots of fun stuff going on here. But you're heading to ThreadX in San Diego. So Terry and I, and we're really looking forward to that. What are you hoping to learn out there? What's kind of the number one goal for you heading out to San Diego, other than nice, wonderful, beautiful San Diego?
Number one goal. Well, there's a few people in the industry I've never met that are going and attending that I'm excited to meet them. So that's good. But really, this event is interesting to me because it focuses a little bit more on like a creative culture. So there's a lot of designers and things like that coming in, which definitely piques my interest. And just being able to learn more from guys that have worked on high-level projects like that, and just see how they work and their workflow and trends they see industry moving in, or just they may flat out call us out on some things in our industry and go, hey, this is what you guys are doing wrong. Here's the next thing coming. So just to learn from some of those guys more on the creative and graphic design and apparel design side, and learning from them on what they have to share with us, it should be great.
Yeah,
Aaron and I were there obviously last year, and it was like going to Woodstock. We had no idea that it was going to be this event that it became, and I'm really hoping it'll be the same this year. You'd mentioned that whole rock and roll culture. I have to share real quick. There was one of the speakers last year, and I can't recall who it was, but he said, "Well, I got into this business differently than everybody else here. I was in a band," and I'm thinking, we should have a show of hands. 75% of the people would say, yeah, I was in a band and I needed t-shirts.
Nice. So real quick, Nate, Tony Braggs asked, what was the book again?
Oh, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Former
Okay.
Navy SEAL, and basically outlines leadership in a combat zone, saying that, hey, if these principles will work here in this extreme environment, they'll work anywhere.
Nice. Okay, perfect. Well, that we've got several people asking for the book, so we've got it out there. We'll actually get a link up into the show notes too, so check that out there. Right. Nate, where can people find out more about you and what you've got going on?
You can find me on social media, Facebook or Instagram. My company name is just my last name, Leber Design and Print. You can find it there, or if you want, I don't care, you can contact me or email me direct. My email is nathanhleber@gmail.com. I respond to emails, I don't care. So I'm pretty open with people contacting me. Or you can DM me on any of the social media platforms.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I am super excited to actually get to meet you face to face and continue this discussion too. I love all the culture leadership. I gobble up all those Audible books myself. So I'm excited to share we'll have a little book club. How about that?
Sounds good.
Nice.
I
Well,
try to
thank you
listen
so
to them on my commute, but it's really just from that room to this room. So it takes me a while to get through them.
Yeah. You're never on a plane anywhere, so it's hard to.
Oh,
All right, cool. Nate, did we miss anything, or we
I don't
cover?
think so.
Awesome, cool.
All
Well,
right.
thanks so much for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you in San Diego in a couple days.
Thanks, guys. See you there.
All right, super.
Terry, that was
right.
fantastic. Love talking to Nate, and then I discovered at the end of the show I was butchering his last name, so I've held up my end of the bargain of being the guy that always ruins last
almost
names.
said that to him. I'm going to guess that 99% of people, including myself, call him Leber instead of Leber. So,
well, there we
I'm
go.
sure he's used to it.
All right, good stuff. Well, Terry, let's see what else do we have coming up here on the horizon. I've got a couple of things. Tomorrow morning, I will not be doing the Small Business Saturdays. We're going to take the week off, just getting some time to enjoy my family. I've got my older son with us here at the resort, so taking some time with the family, and as that's one of the core values of my wife and I as we're developing this business. That's the best decision to make, but we'll be back in a week from Saturday with another great episode of Small Business Saturdays over at my Facebook page, facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info. And then after we get back from ThreadX, we're all heading over to DAX, Kansas City, and I've got 2 seminars there on the 22nd of February. My first one is developing a business plan, and the second one is being customer-centric equals, in all caps, more profits. So I am very excited about those 2 seminars. Those are 2 passion projects of mine, and so looking forward to that. But what about you, Terry? What do you got coming up here?
Well, tomorrow and Sunday, I'm going to be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply doing my complete screen printing business course. In fact, I'm flying out this afternoon and going to bundle up and and go visit my friends there at Atlas. And they always have a great environment for classes, and I always fill a room. So then the 17th through 19th, Sunday night, I'm actually going to fly out and meet you at ThreadX, and we'll be, as 2 regular guys, we're going to be doing a lot of interviews with folks, and we'll bring that to you guys to all the listeners as a show later on. Looking forward to doing that.
Exactly.
February
2 guys and a girl, Terry, with Deborah from Print Media Center. We're really looking forward to collaborating with her and talking about Print United and the convergence of the industries there. She's from the more traditional print world, where obviously we're coming from the garment perspective a bit more here. So we're going to make a nice little partnership there, and looking forward to that as well, for sure, there at ThreadX to start that off. Awesome.
Well, when we're back in Kansas City, February 22nd, I'm going to be doing Put Your New Screen Printing Business on a Path to Success. Of course, that's going to be at the DAX show. And I'll also be doing a seminar called The DTG Process and Finding the Perfect Niche Market. And I think that one is at the exact same time as yours, Aaron. So we'll have to do a head count. And
yeah. So who's going to run into whose room to gloat, I guess, will be. You got to feel confident that you got the most people.
That doesn't sound anything like us. So, anyway, all my upcoming events for 2019 you can find at terrycombs.com under the tab Tour Dates.
Excellent. Well, our show producer, Eric Campbell, will be there at DAX Kansas City as well, and he's got a couple of events there. On the 22nd, he's presenting the Digitizing Difference, Foam, Gradients, and Performance Wear, and then the next day, he is presenting Patch Making for Fun and Profit. So there we go. So that's a lot of excitement. I think we've covered the trade shows, but let me just hit a couple of the trade shows that we didn't mention here, just to kind of give everybody kind of the calendar, so to speak. We mentioned ThreadX, February 17th through the 19th. We mentioned DAX Kansas City, February 22nd through the 23rd. IPIC in Las Vegas, kind of an awards decorating in that regard show March 4th through the 5th. ISS Atlantic City coming up March 21st through the 23rd. NBM Irving, Texas, March 28th through the 30th. And then we all head over to Dax, Minnesota, up there in what is it, Welsh? I think it's Welsh, just outside of Minneapolis at the casino. It's a lot of fun.
Right, about an hour south of the airport. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I never know which way we actually go, if it's north or south or whatever. I just know
Treasure Island.
There. Okay, Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Very nice. And let's see here. ISA, the Sign Expo is happening April 24th through the 26th. DAC Chicago and Tinley Park area is March 3rd through the 4th. And a few more here. NBM Milwaukee, May 17th through the 19th. ISS Houston, June 6th through the 8th. ASI Chicago, July 10th through the 11th. And the NBM Meadowlands, which, Terry, is like all of the necessary New York locations, correct?
Exactly. Meadowlands, Secaucus, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, very nice. And that's
if you've
July.
ever taken the train, if you've ever taken the train to New York City, it's where you change trains. So
very nice. So it's July 25th through the 26th. So plenty of stuff going on there. Let's see. Nate said he's got a couple of comments here that I wanted to share because he's still providing great value for us here, Terry. He says, you can have $1 million in equipment, but if you don't have the right people with the skills to run it, then you have $1 million paperweight. So I think he's in the comments replying to all the fantastic comments we had from the viewers here today. And so we appreciate that very much. All right, Terry. Well, I think we've come to the close of the show. Sorry, I'm jumping around here a little bit, but we are excited to get off to ThreadX here, but we want to thank Nathan for his time and all of the great information that he brought to us today. Again, like I said, I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation at ThreadX. So make sure that you reach out to him, and seems like a fantastic resource for especially such a young guy too. I mean, obviously.
Exactly.
He's got some experience, but not quite the experience that maybe myself or you might have, Terry.
Industry veteran, yeah.
Industry veteran for sure.
Well, we definitely apologize for cutting this show a little bit short today. I've got some commitments that I've got to run off to, but we would like to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell. You can find him at ericcampbell.com. And thanks to our new sponsor, Brilliance, and their family of products.
Yes, outstanding. All right, and let's see what else we have here. Next week, we'll be doing live interviews from Dax, Kansas City. So that will be a fantastic show to get the chance to talk to lots of people, interviews, and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. We haven't quite figured out if it is actually going to be a live Facebook show or if it's just going to be a bunch of recorded interviews. We'll do our best, but you never know with the technology and the internet there. So
Exactly.
could be very interesting, but
well, looking forward to seeing looking forward to seeing folks there at Dax, Kansas City, and please seek us out. We'd love to meet our listeners out there. So until then, I'm Terry Combs, and he's Aaron Montgomery,
and we are the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2 regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.